after you change it, if you want to copy for this particular information to first floor, okay, currently you see, whatever I think changed is actually changed from ground floor. The others is actually still haven't changed yet. If everything is the same, you can actually copy to other floor. Okay, you can actually use this function. Okay, and you will wonder, you will ask me, okay, you ask me, Sam, you say that this TAS is only to do with without the rebar, right? Rebar is actually in TRB. Why we still have this steel ratio? Okay, why we still have this steel ratio? Okay, so for this steel ratio is actually a poundage, okay? The information getting from the engineer, okay? This is widely used during the tendering stage. We want to get a quick quantity, okay? And also to get the estimation whether the consultant quantity is actually correct or not, okay? We can use this function, okay? So the detail rebar back to TRB, okay? And then you can change it, okay? You can copy to other floor, right? So let me just go to here. Okay, so up until this, just now we create our project. After we create our project, we put our project information and then we change our floor settings, okay, by the elevation. Okay, so coming back, okay, we're going to have our 15 minutes break. Okay, we have a 15 minutes break. Coming back, we're going to talk about the first one, import our drawing. Okay, and then we create our axis grid line and our column, our element, our structure element, right? Okay, so we're going to have a break for 15 minutes. And in our layering property method, okay, the layer properties, right? So if you're importing the AutoCAD drawing, they will have some CAD layer, okay, the CAD layer. If your PDF is a vector PDF, you also will have this kind of information, okay, later on, okay? So let's just click on the add drawing, right? Remember just now, I asked you to download the PDF drawings from the links. Okay, you can just locate back the drawing. Okay, just locate back the drawing. Okay, first we need to import our structural drawing. Okay, we're going to focus on our few elements, our column, beam, slab, wall. Okay, those structure element first. Okay, so we focus on our ground floor. Okay, you refer to 00A GF structure layout plan. Okay, the first one. Okay. Okay. Friends from online, are you able to import your first drawing, 00A ground floor plan? If yes, give me an okay. All right. Okay, so a little bit difference compared to AutoCAD drawing and also the PDF drawing. The PDF drawing, as you can see, if you import in, you will feel some things like, hey, it's quite actually similar to our AutoCAD drawing. Okay, you also have the different color, right? So this is the meaning, okay, that I'm bringing it out, right? Meaning to say, okay, this vector PDF will also carry out the properties that actually we have in our AutoCAD, right? And in fact, everything is actually in original layer, okay? In layer manager, we have two. We have one is what we call original layer, and one is what we call as a pick layer. right? Originally, when we import our drawing, everything is actually in this original layer. Okay, if you click on the drop down of the original layer, those are the layer properties that consist in our AutoCAD drawing. Okay, if you off it some of the element, okay, you will see some of the element is being unticked. Okay, if you untick the whole original layer, the whole drawing it will be hidden. Okay, the whole drawing will be hidden. So don't get confused whether I have this drawing imported in, but I don't see anything. You need to make sure the layer manager is being open. Okay, so what are the difference between the original layer and the pick layer? Okay, so for the pick layer is, we have a function, is what we call auto identification. Okay, we identify based on the CAD layer, and then it will produce out all the element, all the entities. Okay, so from here, you will listen to me. I keep on saying on the entities. Entities is what we call each of the, for example, column. We have 5 columns. We don't call it 5 column element. We call it 5 entities. Okay, it's like 5 entities, right? So later I will show you how we can actually, if you have AutoCAD drawing, you can actually use auto identify method to identify it nicely. Okay, from there. Okay, so to let you know, we have 2 methods. One is the manual method. Second is an auto identify method. If the quality of PDF and also quality of AutoCAD is actually up to the par, we can actually identify it, right? So after we input our drawing, we need to scale our drawing. Okay, it's important because we need to until on the scale. Okay, to scale the drawing, if you refer to the third button, the third button is our scale function, or first is this button, okay, or on top of the tab here, this ribbon, this scale drawing. Okay, so everyone, you can just left click on the scale drawing. Okay, here comes, okay, the function of our status bar. It will ask you to select the area to scale, right click to confirm, or you can directly right click to scale the whole CAD drawing. Okay, in this case, just now I click this one, okay, and then I can just right click and everything it will turn into blue color, right? Meaning to say it actually select the whole drawing. Okay, then I need to locate it, right? So here comes, okay, the very important part. If you see from the bottom part here, the third button, this is what we call it actually as a random point. Okay, we call it as a random point. Okay, so make sure when you want to do the scaling or relocate later on, make sure you off the function. Okay, you off the function. Okay, you need to off the function. Make sure it's not being selected. Okay, then it will be only able to select the intersection point. So I'm going to select this part. Okay, I'm going to left click this part and left click this part. I want to get this 12875. Okay, you can just left click and then you left click again. Okay, currently the distance is identified as 146.4. Okay, it's not the one, it's not the dimension that we want. We want it to be 12875. Okay, 12875. Right, and then we click on OK. So in this case, only the drawing is up to scale, and then all the entities that we model later on is up to scale, and the quantity is correct. Okay, this is the steps. Right. I'm going to do one example. I'm going to do one example. If let's say I didn't open the, sorry, let's say I open the random point, how we actually can, but let me just, okay. So as I mentioned just now, the random point, okay. If, okay, you can just look closely from my operation. If I click on the scale drawing and I accidentally open it, okay, and I just select the whole drawing, meaning to say, if I open it, I can freely select any insertion point. So in this case, I actually wrong already, okay, the dimension, okay. So although I put it 18875, okay, yes, I do the scale, but if I look closely, if I use a function later on to measure it, my distance, okay, you will see it's actually 4329. It's wrong already. Okay, so I need to make sure. So let me just go back and do the proper one. Okay. Right. So this is what we already done. Okay, for this particular drawing, for the ground floor plan. Okay, for the ground floor plan. Right. So the next one, okay, after we import the drawing, okay, the first import the drawing, second, scale the drawing without the random point. Third, we're going to create the axis grid line. Okay, why we need to create the axis grid line? Right. So one moment. Okay. Okay. So currently, I have my ground floor plan, okay, separate plan. I have my first floor, later I have my ground roof floor, okay. I have all the floor here, but my drawing panel, my draw panel is actually a random point. Any location also can be had. So I will need to determine where is my XY direct, my axis grid line. I need to have some axis grid line. Okay, my axis grid line need to follow strictly from structural drawing or architecture drawing, which one is take precedence, okay? So I will have this grid line. So later on, after every time when I insert the drawing to TAS, I do the scaling, okay? And then I need to use one function, it's what we call relocate function, okay? I'm going to relocate, for example, this is ground floor. This is first, this is roof. So I'm going to bring, okay, I'm going to relocate my ground floor to this particular axis grid. And then I'm going to relocate my first floor to this particular position. And I'm going to locate my roof floor as well together. So meaning to say whatever information that we have, for example, we have a column. Okay, we create our column here. For column for ground floor, first floor, and roof floor, I will form, okay, I will form a verticality of my column, right? So without the axis grid line, maybe I don't have the axis grid line, I didn't relocate. This is my column for ground floor. This is my column for my first floor. And perhaps maybe this is my column for my roof floor. Okay, it will be not providing you a verticality of the element that it's supposed to be having, right? So this is the function, and this is the core, our backbone, that what we need to have the axis grid line, right? So for the axis grid line, similarly, we have two methods. One is manual, one is auto identify. Okay, so we do it the manual part. Okay, we do it the manual part. Okay, for this one, right? If you see, okay, normally I won't expand all the elements. It's actually quite confusing. Okay, so I would suggest you guys just collapse everything. Just go to the element that you want to create. Okay, so for example here, now I know that after I have my drawing, I need to do the axis grid. So the axis grid on the first one, the axis. Okay, so we click on the axis grid. Okay, in the element list, okay, how we actually read for that is, whatever later our operation, it will be on the element tab to element list. Element list, if we have the information, the attribute, the element, we need to input our value to the attribute editor. Okay, it works this way. Right. So first of all, we click on the element list. So for the element list, we have three kind of the shape we can actually do it. First is orthogonal axis grid, meaning it's in square or rectangle. Second, if you have anything reeling with arc. Third, if you have diagonal. Okay, to locate, okay, we know that this is a rectangle. We're going to use orthogonal, right? I can just click on the orthogonal. Okay, you can just click on the orthogonal, right? So they will have a bottom, left, top, and right. Okay, so we determine, okay, so from here, you will have, this is my layout. We know that this is left, right, top, bottom. Okay, so from here, our axis grid line is actually at my left side and also my top part. Okay, left and the top part. Okay, so I will just focus on my left and also the top. Okay, so let me just come to here. Okay, so for this one, one moment. This is open this one. Okay, so we know that we have our left side is from 1 until 9. Okay, left side is 1 until 9. Let me just double click. Okay, left side. Okay, I insert. Okay, I can just change the axis number. Okay, you insert, you click on the insert, and then axis number, you choose to 1, and then 2, and then you click on insert. So until okay, until there's 9, axis 1 until 9. So it's actually quite unable to view, right? Let me just open this one. Okay, if you have a hard copy of the drawing, you can actually refer to the dimension of it. Okay, so if you don't have, let me open a drawing that is a more visible one. Right, so this one. Okay, so for the first one, 1 to 2 is 450, and then 2 to 3 is 4550. Okay, so in here, the first one, 450, 4550, 4000, 1008, 2005. 4525 and 3950. Okay, so the first one is 450, 4550, 4000, 1008, 2005, 4005, 2005, and 3950. Right? Similarly, okay, this is for the left side. For the top part, okay, it will be the same similarly, okay, similar operation. We have, okay, as you can see, we have A, A1, B. Okay, I will not need to put the A1. I will just put A, B, C, D, E. Okay, for the top part, I will just insert. So I put A, B, C, D, and E. So once I create the second, the top one, it will have a schematic diagram showing you that the axis grid line, how it's actually the format looks like. Okay, so for the A, the dimension is 4475, 1006, 1008, and 5000. 4475, 1008, 1006, and 5000. Oops, sorry. Okay. So from here, we have our left side and top side. So our left is total length is 24250. We can check with our drawing. Okay, 24250. And our top part is 12875. Top part is 12875. Okay, once we created, when we're done, okay, we need to click on OK. Okay, we need to click on OK, everyone. Okay. Do you have the green color axis grid that you created with the dimensioning? Okay, yes. Right. How about for online friend? Do you get it? The axis grid line, indicating the green color one. Right. Okay. All right. Okay. Nice. Okay. So the total length. Okay. Okay. So once you get it, you will have this method. Okay. The next step. The next step will be we need to relocate it. Right. Okay. So we will have the axis grid line already, right? Okay. So the next thing I need to do is I need to click on the function of this relocate. And then I need to point from this positioning to that axis grid position. And without opening the random point again. Okay, don't open it. Okay, so we do it together. Okay, how to relocate? The relocate function is actually at the second button. Okay, the relocate here. Okay, you left click on the relocate. Okay, you left click on the relocate. Okay, then it will ask you to specify the base point of the CAD drawing. Okay, so I can easily determine I want to find the 9A intersection. I can just select this particular point. Okay, zoom in, you left click. Okay, and you zoom out, you will see after you select the base point, you move your mouse, the white color box is following you. Okay, so you go to the axis grid line that we wanted to be placed in the 9A intersection. Okay. Right, able to get it, able to relocate. Right, so I will show you another thing, okay, which is if I open my random point yet again. Okay, if I accidentally open a random point, I do it again. For example, I put it 9A intersection and I open my random point. I didn't notice it closely. I just point like this. So this is the thing that not we want. Okay, have to remember, do scaling and relocation need not to open this random point. Okay, let me just go back to here. Okay. Right, so you will have your drawing, okay, it's actually in line with your axis grid line. So this is our preparation work we already done. Okay, we did it, okay, and then the next thing we go to focus on our first element. Okay, our first element is column. Okay, so from the drawing here, okay, let us look closely from the drawing. We know that we have a column C1, C2, C3, C4. We have rectangle column. We have square round column, and we have some special shape of the column. This C14 is quite special, right? Okay, so for the column, okay, let me just off everything. Okay, we just focus on the column part. Okay, so for the column, the first item, okay, the column. Okay. In the column, we can create 4 things. Right? We can actually create 4 types. First is a rectangular column. Second, on the round. Third is irregular. And fourth is parametric column. Right? Okay. Normally, we will first focus on this 1, 2, 3. I'm going to show you the irregular column. Right? Just to show you. Okay. You can just focus on my screen here. Irregular column is actually the place that you can actually draw it yourself, the column type, the column shape. I can use the line, I can draw it, and then I use the 3-point. Impossible, we have this kind of column, right? Okay, and then I click on OK. So this column, when I point it, okay, and then when I come out, we will have this shape of the column. So this is what we call irregular column. This is the bare hand, I do it irregular. If we can actually select the section from the drawing, or we can draw the section in the drawing. So meaning to say, take example, I click on the draw section, I go back to this one, the C14. Okay, I can just specify the point according to the information from the drawing. Okay, and right click to confirm. So the dimension is having, and I click on OK. So I'm going to click on it. So this is the column that we have. Okay, you can use this irregular function. Okay, but if this kind of shape is actually quite common. Okay, it's actually quite common. So let me just let me just delete it. Okay, for this type just now, the L-shaped type, it actually can be found in our parametric column. The parametric, if you see from the TAS TRB software, the things with the parametric terms is actually preset in our software. Okay, it's actually commonly used. For example, this one, you can actually choose for L shape, T shape, okay, various kind of shape. For this one, it's actually quite relevant. Okay, and then we can just input the value of it, but it's a little bit slow. We need to determine one by one. Okay, you can actually use this method or the irregular, that's now the one, right? And not to mention, rectangle and round. Okay, so we just focus on the first one first, everyone. We focus on the rectangle column. Okay, so currently I'm talking about is the manual method. The manual method that if our drawing is unable to auto-identify, we try and see. Okay, the first one, we click on the rectangle column. Okay, I will just enlarge this one. Yeah. Okay. Okay, so for the rectangle column, when I create, it will be column -1. Right? So introduction to you for the attribute editor. Okay. Attribute editor is the place that we can set all the value relate to these particular entities. Okay. So for this column -1, but in fact, I want it to become C1. I need to double click and then I just change the name to C1. Okay, I change the name to C1. Okay, I change the name to C1, and the information is also been changing in the element list, right? And there is the material you can actually choose from it: in situ concrete, precast concrete, brick or stone. I will just remain it. Okay, and you will see there is a little bigger square box, and it will add column title here, right? Meaning to say, if I want to have this information appear in my element list, I can just tick on it. Okay, if I tick on it, then you are able to see, okay, the display that I wanted to be seen. Okay, this is you can actually show the section width and section height. Okay, right. So in this case, C1. Okay, if you refer to the drawing, okay, the training material, I have a column details. If you have the hard copy, you can actually refer to the hard copy drawings. You have a column details. Okay, this column details, for example, this C1 is actually 450 times 200. Okay, it's 450 times 200. Okay, it's 450 times 200. So in this case, in the TAS, I'm going to put it 450 times 200. Okay, 450 times 200. Okay, so we focus on the attribute editor. So please make sure every time when you see a value with a bracket, value with a bracket means the value is actually by default. Okay, the value is by default. And the value, the default value, where we can actually set it? Anyone? Where we can set it, this default value? Okay, right, the settings, the part, right? Okay, so for this, for example, so remember just now, the column, why is actually C30 is because in the project setting, the floor settings, in my ground floor, my column is C30. Everything I set from the general notes is C30. Let's say you have a layout plan for ground floor, it said that your column is grade 50. So then we might then need to change it from this concrete grade. Or we can actually, at the very beginning, we change from here already. Everything can be set to 350. Okay, so this is, right, okay, as you can see, you have a prompt now. Do you want to save the project? So I would recommend everyone to save, if you have the prompt, save the project on the desktop. Easy for you to find later on. Okay, I'll just save it. Okay, right? Okay, so everything backward is actually our default settings from our floor settings there. Okay, I have our top elevation and bottom elevation. Okay, I'm going to explain to you later on. Okay, okay. Let me just change my color, same as yours one. Okay, so from here, you will see there are two colors differentiate in the attribute editor. We have blue color and we have black color. Okay, this is very important. Okay, so for this one, what is actually the definition of it? Okay, so let's say you will see the value, okay, the reading in blue color is actually what we call is at the public attribute. Okay, and in black color is what we call private attribute. Okay, the private and the public, the differences. One is public, one is attribute, and one is private. Okay, the differences is, okay, I let you guys take a note. Okay, the differences is, so let's say currently I'm in C1. My section width and section height is public attribute, right? If I point, for example, I point 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I point 5 columns. Okay, for the public attribute, if I change the value for the public attribute, for example, 500 to 500, okay, it will be changed everything that I'm using this C1. Okay, okay, so from here, let's say everything is C1. So for private attribute is, if I select this particular entity, and then I change my elevation, for example, I change to -2, only this particular element will be changed. So this is what we call private attribute. Okay, public attribute, you no need to select the entity to edit the value. Private attribute is you need to select the entity, only you change the value, only it will take effect. Okay. Okay, so let me just come to here. Okay, we know that we can actually add the information from this add. You tick the button, okay, and then the bracket value is our default value from floor settings, and we have public attribute and private attribute. Okay, so now say everything is already sure, already firm. Okay, I want to place it to my drawing, my 2D drawing. Right, everyone? So we do it together. First, make sure you have this element list, C1. Okay, you select it. Okay, and then you need to go to the draw tab. Okay, you go to the draw tab, everything is actually inactive. Okay, everything is inactive. You cannot choose only one thing. It's actually what we call point. Point. For column, we use point function. Okay, if you're not sure what is this, you can just put your cursor. It's actually point. Use to point the entities. Right. So let us click on the point function. Right. So by default, our cursor is actually on the middle of our entity. And in fact, if I want to point it, I'm unable to locate it. Okay, I have a function. Okay, everyone, you can actually press your keyboard F4. Okay, you try to press F4. Okay, then you can see the insertion point is actually changing to few other location. Okay. Okay, you can actually go to the corner of it. Then you can just back to this C1 without opening the random point. And then I just left click and I point it. Okay, after you point it, it was still following you. Okay, you can actually just right click to exit. Okay, specify the insertion point, right click to exit. I just right click to exit. Okay, so after we point it, we want to view. Okay, we can just click on the first button. You click on the first button, there will be a white color circle coming out. Okay, a little bit guidance for how you can actually play around with this. Inside our white circle, if you left click and then you drag, you will see, okay, you will see the full side of it. If outside the white color, if you left click and you rotate, it will rotate the whole orientation. Okay, it will rotate the whole orientation. Okay, so you will need sometimes to play around with the 3D. Okay, first of all, I will just inside the circle, I just left click. Okay, I can just look carefully. So this is the first column that I've been drawing. Are you able to get this column, the first column? Yes? Right. So anyone can answer to me, the column is how many meter? 3 meter, 4 meter, 4.5 meter? Comment to me. How you think? What is our column height? Yes, 3 meter or 4 meter. Sorry, 3 meter. Okay. How about you? How you think? 4 meter. Okay. Right. How about our fellows friend in Zoom? Samuel mentioned 4 meter. Okay. Okay. Yanting also 4 meter. All right. Okay. So no worry, there will be no right or wrong. Okay. So to make sure how we can actually affect it, right? In fact, okay, all our vertical element is actually governed by our project settings, floor settings here. And currently I'm at ground floor to draw my columns, right? So my ground floor, my floor height is 4 meter. So the column, it will be 4 meter, right? Okay. Also, yes, correct. Okay. Okay, Nguyen also stating a very good point. Okay, by default, everything is actually by using following the 4 meter, the floor settings. If you want to check, you can actually just left click on it. Okay, if you left click on your column, then you will see we have top elevation and bottom elevation. The top elevation is 87.4. The bottom elevation is 83.4. Is equals to 4 meter. Okay, 4 meter. Right. So come to elevation. I will need to explain it further. The elevation, we have few kinds of elevation. Two kinds of elevation, because first time when I see this elevation, I also a little bit confused, right? So you can see I have this top elevation. What do you mean top elevation equals to floor top elevation? Bottom elevation equals to floor bottom elevation, right? So every entity, they have their own elevation, okay? So this is the column. Column have column top elevation. Column has column bottom elevation, right? To determine what is the height of the particular entity, okay? So first of all, I will just let you know. Okay, let me just click on it. Okay, so from here, okay, if you look closely, this is from my ground floor, right? Okay. Okay, so currently, this is my ground floor. Okay, this is my first floor. Right. So in this, my ground floor, my first floor, my ground floor, I will have ground floor bottom elevation. Okay, ground floor also have ground floor top elevation. Okay, entities itself, in regards of its column, wall, beam, slab, it also have their own elevation. For this column, just now I said, column has their top elevation, column has its own bottom elevation. In this case, column top elevation is actually my floor top elevation. Is my floor, my ground floor, top elevation. Okay? And the column bottom elevation is my floor bottom elevation. Okay, so from here, this is 83.4 kan. I have a 4 meter high up. It will be 87.4. I have 4 meter high up. This will be 91.4. Right? Okay, so it also get a little bit confused is my ground floor top elevation is actually also equals to my first floor bottom elevation. Okay, so you will need to imagine it. Okay, you need to imagine it. What is actually stating for it, right? So why is there is an elevation for the entities? In fact, it's actually for the software to locate the positioning of the entities. Okay. At the floor settings, we have our floor elevation. So by entities, I will need to give them an elevation for top and bottom. Only they know what is the y direction they need to locate in, right? So let me just move it, this one. Okay, so we already done for this column number 1, right? So in case, if you can see from the detail, C3 is actually having the same shape. Okay, this is C1 and C3, we focus on C3. If there is a same shape, I can just use the copy function. I don't need to just create one by one and then I adjust the section width, section height. Okay, I can just create. Okay, by default is C3. I'm going to change to C3. Okay, so if we create by using the copy function, okay, but the information is still the same. It's 450 by 200. It's 450 by 200. Okay, the orientation is not similar. Okay, the orientation is not similar. How we can actually do the modification? Okay, the first one, you can just edit back 200 by 450. Okay, you can do this way. Or the second way is when we want to use the point function, make sure it's C3. If I want to use point function, you will see there is another function. There's another function, is what we call rotation point. Okay, we can just tick on the rotation point. Tick on the rotation point. In rotation point, if you tick on the rotation point, you will need to have 2 left click. Okay, if we untick this rotation point, I will need, meaning to say, now I tick on the rotation point. Okay, I need to change my insertion point. Okay, I change my press F4 to become a corner. So currently I will have this orientation. I will need to, at this position, right? So I will need to rotate to this position. So meaning to say I need to left click once here and left click another times here. Right? So we do it together. Okay, make sure it's actually at the bottom left corner. Okay, I zoom in. I left click once and then I can move my cursor. Okay, you can see from here, I need to left click another times. Okay, it's actually back to your habit, whether you want to straight away change the section width or section height to become 200 times 450, or you want to use this rotation point to do it. Right? So this is how we can actually put the C3. The next one, we focus on our round column. Right? So let us see, we can actually have one C5. Okay, C5 located at the grid line 89 and also A. Okay, C5 here. So for the detail, for C5 is actually the radius is 150. Okay, 150. Okay, so for this case, I cannot use copy function. Okay, it's a round column, right? C5. I need to click and then I select the round column. Okay, the radius is 150. For training purpose, you will see I will lastly look on the settings on here. Okay, I just want you to practice how we can actually point it. Okay, how can you actually draw it out, right? But in fact, on the actual practice, you need to look carefully on the settings, right? Similarly, for C5, okay, if in the middle, I can't do a locate, I just press F4. Okay, and I just left click. Okay, so make sure I don't open my rotation because just now I didn't close it. So I will have some problem with it. Right? Okay, already done for C5, everyone? If you're done for C5, let me know. Reply me a C5. Before we go for our lunch, okay? One more. Focus in C14. Everyone, focus in C14. Okay, we focus in C14. This is the one, the L shape of the column. Okay, so I mentioned to you just now, you have some option whether to use the parametric column or you can use the irregular column. But normally I will prefer to use irregular column because parametric, I will still need to get the dimension of it and I input in the value. Okay, I will just click on the irregular column. Okay, from the irregular column, there's a drop down here. Okay, the irregular column drop down. I choose draw section. Okay, in fact, you can use select the section. Okay, or you can use draw section. I can use draw section and then I just draw it on the parameter. Okay, so in the vector graphics editor, you will have this L shape showing you. Okay, and then we just click on OK. Okay, similarly, you can press F4 to change the insertion point. Okay, so this is how you can get your C14. Right? Able to get it? C14. So this is the method, okay, by using the manual method. Okay, manual method meaning to say in our element, we need to create our element based on these four method. Based on these four method, okay, we create the element, okay, and then we point it out to become our entities. Okay, become our entities, right? So additional information to you guys, if you have your AutoCAD drawing or you have your vector PDF, it's actually the quality is good enough, okay? I would like to show you, okay? Just showing you, and it's actually in a recorded, okay? You can just look carefully, right? So from here, if we have this, consider a good quality of the drawings, okay? We can actually use a manual, the identify method. I back to my column. So have to remember everything to do with manual, you need to in draw tab. Everything to do for the auto identify is related to our drawing. I will need to focus in my identify tab. Okay, identify tab. And then Right, so sorry. I think the mic is actually running out of the battery. Right, so Ken, I repeat again, sorry for that. Okay, so for the identify just now, okay, once I identify it, okay, I think by using the auto identification, we need to refer to this identify tab, right? So for the identify tab, we have three things to do. The very first thing is pick sideline, pick label, and auto identify, right? So imagine just now, remember what is the differences between the layer, the pick layer, those. So I click on the pick layer. Those are the information that just now I pick. I pick the sideline of the column. I pick the sideline of the label, and I click on auto identify. Okay, if you want to have a full drawings, it will be need to open both layer. Only is actually our original drawings. Okay, so with few clicks, you're able to get the full column easily. But if your drawing is actually not in good quality, you will have some problem just like me I'm facing now on the left hand side here. I don't have the name of it. Okay, let's say I put it, I select, okay, you will see this particular column is actually from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 column, and each of the column have their own identical name. So meaning to say I'm unable to use this function to do it. Okay, I will need to use the manual method to do it, right? So that will be the auto identify method for the column. Okay, but it's also heavily depending on our drawings. Okay, safe side. Okay, I will be a mixation of automatic method and also the manual method for you to appreciate if you don't have the good quality of drawing, how we can actually model up the elements, right? So yeah, it's actually 12:06 now. Okay, we're going to have our lunch break starting from now until 2 p.m. Okay, we're going to start back at 2 p.m. later on. Okay, we start back at 2 p.m. We're going to continue our frame element, our beam, our slab, and our wall. Okay, and then we have our block wall as well. Right? Okay, see you at 2 p.m. later on.
Recording stopped.